back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today, we're focused on Star Trek Picard season 2, episode 3, Assimilation. And we have Toddy from the 21st century here. I should have been Starfleet Boy from the 21st century as well.
I'm just making sure people know that, it's me and that I'm from the 21st century, just in case. I don't want people to get confused.
Are you the Watcher? Are you the Watcher? Is that who everyone's looking for?
Who's the Watcher?
Who is the Watcher indeed? It looks like we've got quite a little crowd forming. Hello.
So many people want the Watcher to be that one Vulcan, right? That we talked about last week from Enterprise.
I don't see how the Watcher could be that Vulcan unless he's been bored for like whatever amount of years and he figured out how to warg like in Game of Thrones into
Imagine
other
if the
people.
Watcher's like a time-stranded Agent Daniels from Enterprise, right? Like they bring the boy back and he's like just stranded and he's bored.
Oh, wow. Or what if it's like Archer? What if Archer's destiny was to like he went back in time and he had to be the Watcher?
I don't know. Well, okay, so do you think the Watcher?
We're already in theory.
We're already into it.
What is going on? What's happening right now? No episode summary, no opening thoughts.
That's the joke that I made last week. I said Dr. Dre is the Watcher, and no one understood my reference. Thank you for liking rap. My goodness. Especially, it's like LA. It's the anyway.
Who got it? Who got that joke? Was someone in our audience?
Fathery, text Dre.
Oh, Father is.
He understood it. Thank you.
It ain't no Carbon Creek Vulcan. That dude is busy watching I Love Lucy. Streaming now on Paramount Plus. Yes, this is true. Who watches the Watcher? That's a great screen name. I actually thought your screen name would be. Hold on, I had a guess that. Wait, let me see. Did I write it down? Oh yeah, I thought your screen name would be "Shit I Stole from the Borg Queen" today, but I think I like "Who Watches the Watcher" better.
You're theory crafting on people's names now.
It's true. It's true. So we have hello Cake is Eternal, hello Joel, hey Braxton, what's up, hey crew, happy Sunday. Patrick Stewart has still got it, some exquisite acting in this episode. Yeah, I have to agree with that. Well, let's get to it. Toddy, do you want to give a little summation of your
are we doing those now? Oh no,
a summation of your thoughts, like just your overall thoughts of this episode, because I know if I recall correctly, you didn't really enjoy episode 1 a lot. Like, it was okay, right?
Yeah, so yeah, that's it. I didn't enjoy episode 1, I think, nearly as much as everyone. Like, everyone, I think, has come to the conclusion that they preferred episode 1 to episode 2. It was kind of like the reverse for me. I preferred episode 2 than episode 1. I felt like episode 1 was really coming out of, like, what I didn't like from season 1. I think that they kind of hand-waved away some of the baggage that they had in season 1. Like, Girardi's like, I'm not a killer, or at least I'm not going on trial. So I think episode 1 was a bit of that. Episode 2, I'm not fit up with Mirror Universe episodes. I think that they're fine. This was like an alternate Mirror Universe. It was like a Mirror Universe adjacent kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. I enjoy it for what it is, and I enjoy the fact that it better suits like the writing teams that we have nowadays. Like they can really, I think it suits them better. This episode, and I know I feel like a negative man here saying that I'm not expecting much from Star Trek at the moment, but my hopes aren't necessarily as high as they could be. But I came out of this like pretty impressed actually. Halfway through the episode, I turned to wife and I was like, this is pretty decent. Like I'm enjoying this, and I think it's actually pretty good. And yeah, I think Who Watches the Watchers is quite correct. I think Sir Patrick Stewart had a very solid performance, which and I'm sorry to say this, I think he's one of the weakest actors currently in this show.
Wow. I'm sorry you said that too, because now I don't think I could do this show anymore.
Oh my goodness!
No, I'm just kidding. I just carry on.
No, I think that in this episode, like the trio that they were there with like Agnes, the Queen, and Picard, I think they did a really good job. I think that the 3 plot lines were very solid, like each individually. and it felt very Star Trek. It also felt very it blended well, like the contemporary feel of a new show with like the feel of a Star Trek show, if that makes sense. I enjoyed myself. It didn't last too long. It was a shorter episode, I feel like. I think the total runtime was only 45, like with the
Yeah,
credits. So I think it's just a
I
shorter
think
one.
on Text Track on Friday, Father pointed out that it was 47 minutes long.
Okay,
So
so it's shorter than like
the
the
magic
the
number,
the,
one
the
of the
hour.
magic numbers.
It's a lot shorter than like the hour-long beast that was like the Discovery finale. So like
Right.
this, and it was fine. The pacing was like well handled, and it was better to have like a shorter episode. It got more to the point. So yeah, I came out of this quite happy actually. I quite enjoyed it. There were details, of course, but when I get into details that I don't like, then it means then the overall like feeling is positive, and that's a good thing.
Nice, nice. I think also it just for me it's exciting to finally get that third act in this kind of beginning. Like I feel like last season of Star Trek Picard it was like a set of three, right? Like
Mm,
three, and then now we finally got that too. So in episode one we got like the follow up to season one, seeing what everyone's doing, and then oh shit, disaster! Like
mm.
like the Borg are here,
I,
and like something's going on, and we have to blow up the fleet. And then episode two, we got this like this mystery of like we still don't know why Q. One of the things we're trying to figure out is like why did Q feel it's important to intervene in the first place
mm,
from the events and create this like this fissure in time as the Borg Queen describes it. And that was fun to see the like you said. I think personally I'm done with the mirror universe. If it's like if it never comes back, I'm okay with it. I don't mind the mirror universe. Like I'm not opposed. I don't get like I don't roll my eyes or get like oh no another mirror universe thing. But I really appreciated that it was as you say mirror adjacent. It was like the same concept but done in a very like for like in a very TNG kind of way, like the way I kind of would expect the Picard spirit to be. Like to me, Picard is a definitely like gonna reference itself. Its previous
I'm gonna be
series
honest. I
TNG the
think the
most.
mirror universe is too cartoonish to even be interpreted as like a reality that we could exist in. I know that we often joke, like us humans often joke, like we are living in the mirror. We're not. We're more closely living into this mirror universe adjacent thing that they showed us, like the totalitarian regime and
Totalitarian
everything. Like
regime,
it,
yeah.
it, it feels like something that I guess we came really close to at some point with like the U.S. situation
Right.
and maybe like the Russian situation, So I think that was more. It was more scary, I think, in that sense.
And I
But I
and I
agree.
agree.
We don't need to go back to this kind of stuff. I'm fine with Star Trek being all happy and positive. Like I'm happy with just
Yeah.
seeing planets
But
with
that being said, it was neat
you know
to kind of see
chill
that.
out.
And then also, setting up this like I think it sets up nicely like Q would do something like this. Like it is very Q to me that he would like alter time so that we could see the errors of our way or at least Jean-Luc
Mm,
could. And so it fits and then of course there's all this like weird other stuff going on with Q, but I'm sure that'll play out in the season. But what I like about this episode and why I think I like it a lot more than the last episode is that like all the setup's done now and I feel like now we're going. Like this is it. From here all the way till this is it. Like from now to the end it's just going to be like the story. You know what I mean?
we're on our
Like
way.
we're
Yeah,
on
they
our
they
way.
got rid
Exactly.
of Soji. She's gone. Screw that shit. Don't need it. We got rid of Elnor.
They
Boom.
killed my baby. My baby's
They
dead.
hung the sword back on the wall. We don't need this decorative character. Let's move the fuck on. Like it's just like yo, let's get rolling.
Oh, that's funny. Joel's commenting on the backdrop and saying, "I like how we're just seeing Patrick, Sir Patrick's chrome dome, and it's true." Hold on, let me switch to a different Star Trek Picard background. How about this one? How about
Red
that one?
alert,
I think
baby.
that one's a little bit better, right? I wanted to like do my ship background, but it wasn't working as much
I'm
from
sorry for
for
being
this.
offensive. It's just that I made a joke about Elnor in season one, and like my season review, the way I described Elnor was that he was like, I agree that he's a great character, but that they didn't give him enough, right? So he kind of felt like a decorative sword, like he's very pretty to look at,
Wow.
But he doesn't have like much use as innocence, and sometimes they pick him up and cut off a head. You know what I mean? And then they'll just put him back. And I feel like this is they were like, okay, we don't know what to do with this kid this time, so we'll just use him
That
as like a tool to make Rafi like feel, like she's lost a sickened son or something like that, and that's his use now.
I can't argue with the transparency of the mechanics, the
Yeah,
plot or story.
yeah,
I can't
it
argue
is a
with
bit
that,
obvious,
but
right?
it works. I still think it
Oh, I'm not
works.
saying it
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
work.
yeah.
I'm just saying for
Yeah,
those that do indeed do like enjoy Elnor and would have liked to see more of him, you're not
it's a
gonna get that
bummer.
unless
Yeah, I
they give
know.
you like a season 3 that specifically has like the arc that you want, where he's like he becomes the next Picard and he replaces Jean-Luc in the family line and he takes over like unless we get that and it's like centered around him in season 3, then you're not getting Elnor. Give it
I'm
up.
actually glad you brought that arc up because season 2 has kind of taught me that I don't think I want that arc for
Oh,
Elnor
you
anymore.
don't want that
I
arc
want the
anymore.
Starfleet arc for him,
Okay, you
actually.
want the Starfleet.
Yeah, I do.
This is funny too.
But I
Like
do think
modern
Laris.
modern
I
Star
think
Trek's like
Laris. Well,
modern,
Javon's dead, but I wanted at the end of season 1. I think I wanted
no,
Laris and Javon to have Chateau Picard more, but alas,
you don't. Are you're still in the Beverly camp, right? You're not in the
I'm on
Laris
the
camp.
Beverly camp.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it's a consolation prize because Jean Luc will
It's a
choose.
consolation
I
prize.
think I think that Jean Luc will choose Beverly, so I think Laris will be let down. I think I do want Jean Luc to leave Chateau Picard to Laris. I think that's
Okay.
something that I would still
You
like to
can't get
see.
me, but you can get my chateau.
Yeah, yeah. Here you go. This chateau that doesn't have any value in the future, except for historic value, which would be interesting. But I don't know. It's like too complicated to get into right now.
Well,
All
I think
right,
it's
so
I would call it cultural value, perhaps, or heritage value, right?
right,
Like you would need
right,
to.
right, right. That's a good point.
You don't. It's not about like being rich and having the ownership of the chateau. It's more about having like the responsibility of keeping the traditions going, and it's I guess the pride of being able to continue these time honored traditions. I guess there's like Klingon blood wine. Maybe there's like these special Klingon blood wines that are very valuable and that only certain Klingons or houses take care of. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Father is going to come in and say, "No, no, no. Blood wine
No,
is
no,
different.
yeah.
It's just the blood of the enemy moving on."
Let's go to the comments for a second here. Jill says I didn't really pick up on Stewart's performance until the third watch because most of the activity was driven by the younger actors. I'll say this like yeah, I was a little surprised that you're not digging Stewart's performance this season. I think he's stronger than last season. I feel like he's very much the Picard that the commanding kind of Picard, more, not very much, but he's more of that than he was in season 1, I would say. But also I do think I was talking to a friend of mine and they say that like it's just on a very personal level for him. It's very hard to hear Picard, Sir Patrick Stewart's voice that's different from. He's so used to TNG, watches TNG all the time, and
Yeah,
and
okay,
stuff. So
I can
it's
see that.
different. Like it's different for him. Going back to I think a lovely sentiment that Tech Trek shares a lot, which is like Star Trek's not afraid to let its characters and actors age on screen. Like more often than not, we see our characters and our actors aging in Star Trek. So it's
Hmm.
kind of especially now that we're in this like revisiting these other, like TNG era, settings and, well, stuff like that. Now that we're bringing back
To
characters.
clarify here, I'm not saying he's a bad actor.
Yeah, I know you're not.
In case
You're just
people are
saying
getting worried
you
here.
find him the weakest this season
Yeah,
in Star Trek
but
Picard
that
so far.
was
Yeah.
like that was my sentiment in season 1 also. I found that he was the weakest actor of the bunch, which I guess is maybe a little disrespectful because there's a lot of like young and inexperienced actors. And I'm excluding Elnor here because poor kid, he has nothing really to do anyway. They're not really asking him to act. But I think like Rafi's emotional scenes when they really got into like her and her son, I think they were stronger than what Sir Patrick Stewart did. I think that just generally speaking, I think that he didn't have the strongest performances, and this season it's the same. When you look at like what I don't know what she's called, but what the Borg Queen is doing, um, Alison Pill did a really good job this episode. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Let's go. I guess let's get into some. Oh, whoa, there's a lot of chat. I'm missing out
This
on.
is because I've started discourse with my
You
supposed
started a
good thing.
discourse, yeah. Here. Uh,
Here's the thing too. There comes I think a point where like realistically, no matter how much experience and like how much I guess vécu you have,
what's
as
vécu?
vécu is like I guess life experience or how
Is that
much
a
you've
French
lived.
word?
Yeah.
You really, I wish you would write a little bit of Jean-Luc's dialogue, just because I wish he said vécu. Like, Rafi, I have some vécu that I wish to pass to you. Trust me,
Um.
we needed to save the Borg Queen.
There, there,
I'll
there,
do whatever it takes to bring
there,
Elnor back.
there comes
We'll
a
time
moment.
travel again after we time travel. No, sorry,
I'm
carry on.
trying to justify why I'm being so mean towards the guy.
Just don't worry about thinking
Okay.
you're mean.
Okay.
Just don't worry about it. You're not
Okay.
you're giving your opinion. It's fine. And you sounded pretty respectful. And the fact that you think you're mean shows me that you feel bad about it. It's fine. It's fine. That was tiring. I love the expression on Picard's face when he turns around, scared to look at the Borg Queen. I don't know. I find it funny how scared he looks. He does look pretty scared. I find it funny that he always looks
Let
scared
Let's talk about
whenever
the
someone
one
calls
thing
him.
that I found a bit ridiculous this episode. The
All
one
right.
thing that I'm
This is the
disappointed,
one ridiculous thing.
yeah, that no one really brought up because everyone's getting mad, or mainly Rafi's getting all mad about like you chose the Bull Queen over Elnor, and it's like, yo, I know that maybe time travel isn't the most common thing, but you gotta have some comprehension about it because you're a Starfleet officer. If Elnor dies here, he's not gonna be dead when you get home.
We don't have a guarantee of that though.
Well, they established that later on in the episode because for some reason they decided to invent their own rules. But believe me, he will not be dead when you get home because that's not how it works.
I don't know.
Also,
This expression from the
also,
Borg Queen is my expression right
also,
now.
you need the Bull Queen to get home. If you don't have the Bull Queen, then you can't go back to the present anyway. So none of you are more important than the Bull Queen is literally the most important person on this ship.
Until Agnes steals shit from her files.
Until Agnes steals.
Yeah.
But at that
But
point,
at
it
that
was
point, she is. You're
at that
right.
point
She
there
is the
was
most important
which
person here.
means
It's true.
anyone should be sacrificed in order to keep the Bull Queen because then no one can get home. You need the Bull Queen to get home. So I'm like, because then he says something about, oh, well, she knows where the Watcher is. That's not even important. You guys have bloody tricorders. You guys can scan and find where the Watcher is.
Like what Rafi does.
You're
Rafi's kind of
finding the Watcher
on
without the Queen, so you
without the
don't need
Queen.
her.
Yeah, it's true.
But you do need the Queen to get home because apparently Picard he
Yeah.
has the brain to be able to find.
Well,
He has the brain, but he's deactivated it because he wants to be a normal human, right?
yeah.
Because he could calculate the way home, but he's not gonna.
He can't activate it even if he wanted
No,
to.
he can't
He's
just
built.
switch it on.
He's like built to be. Yeah, like he's
So
not
they need
built
the
to be
Queen.
like.
So I was
Yeah.
like, why didn't they address that? That's really weird. Like she is the only important crew member in this whole thing, technically.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's a good point. The first time I watched it, the first time I watched the, let me just pull up my little Elnor's death moment here because I guess I'll just talk about it. The first time I watched the episode, I didn't clue in. I actually felt like Rafi, like I felt like Jean-Luc was totally out of line and like not totally out of line. I would say cold and heartless. Like I felt he
Oh
was just a
my.
little, yeah, I was a little upset at Jean-Luc, the character, about it. But watching it again a couple of times, I do notice he does show concern, and I think like we've seen him do this before. Like that's the whole point. That's why he's such a great leader, a great captain, is that he doesn't let even these like really dark moments kind of like like sway him away from the mission. You know what I mean? Like to kind of like distract him, for lack of a better word.
You gotta
And it
understand, he doesn't believe any of this too. Like in my mind, I think Picard doesn't believe anything. Like
right, he
of what's
thinks that
happening.
like he's just gonna snap his fingers
Yeah,
and it's gonna be over.
this
So
is
he's
either
like,
some cute
that's a really good,
shenanigan. This is like
interesting
some sort of
thing.
time shenanigan. Like he doesn't believe in the reality of the situation that he's living in.
Interesting.
Like I think he just wants to find a way out of it. But people that he'll lose along the way, they're not really lost. You know what I mean? Maybe not because they don't have that conversation with Rafi. Like they have that conversation a bit later when they say, we don't know if he's going to be there when we get back. And Agnes is like, I would have lied. I would have been Agnes. I would have just said, yes, I guarantee you. This is how time works. Rafi, get your shit together. He will be back. Even if it's not true, at least you can get Rafi back together for the mission, right? Then you deal with the consequences once everyone's home and safe, and then you realize that, okay, well, Elno's not here. Then you can deal with Rafi and say, look, I'm sorry I lied, but we really needed to get home. You know what I mean? There's nothing you could have done anyway. He was already dead.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then you
that
like
makes
deal with the consequence, but at least you fixed Rafi fixed, for the mission. Because at the moment, like now, she's in a very fragile place. She doesn't know. I don't know. I would have said if you do this and if you do it right, then Elno would have been saved. Maybe I'm a terrible person to lie like that, but that's how I would have led the mission. I would have just said,
Textrek is saying if Tasha Yar exists in the Yesterday's Enterprise timeline and continues to exist in the corrected timeline even after going back in time and preventing the Yesterday's Enterprise timeline, then couldn't Elnor's death from the Penance alternate timeline stick even after going back and preventing it? That's a really good point. See, it's kind of up in the air. I think the stakes are still high, at least for me. I was very yeah. It's like and it's interesting. Like just removing Elnor from the board again makes so much sense. Like like you said earlier, but yeah, it's still like I'm worried the show's not
so.
going to have him continue into season 3. Go ahead.
No, I think he will be alive. He just won't be in the show. Like Soji's not in the show here.
Right, right.
But here's the thing: like this is the real timeline, right? That we all watched in season 1, right? This is the alternate timeline that we got a glimpse of in like the beginning of the season. Okay,
The
we
actually
went back to this point. Okay,
Jean-Luc is saying that like so in previous temporal situations or incursions like oftentimes it's like the mirror universe, it's a different universe. The road not taken is just it's the prime timeline altered is what they're saying on the show, at least what Jean-Luc is presenting. So it's not like they're hopping across another universe. It's like someone made a change in the past of the prime timeline, and now this is the result of it. So it erases everything. It's kind of like very similar to Edith Keeler, like how if she
yeah,
lived,
it's all the
like
same thing. They're trying to
it's
say it different. It's the same thing though.
it's the same thing, yeah. So we're still in the prime timeline. So yeah, I think that's the thing is we're trying to correct the prime timeline. I
Yes,
think
but
it's a little easier to understand after watching Loki because
look,
that's really
look,
confusing.
look
But
at it. Look
yeah.
at it. Look at it this way. All right, everyone's worried about the Elnor from season 1, right? Because we think that Elnor from season 1 died. Look at Seven right now. Seven is not Seven. Seven is Annika. She's not even our real Seven. She's our real Seven in the body of someone from another timeline, technically. And so they are too. Elnor wasn't even in his own body. We didn't even lose our Elnor. He tells Rafi to give him the medallion because it brings him comfort to know that this Elnor also won this medallion. But it's not even him that got that earned that one. It's not even our real characters technically that we're watching. It's like it's our characters' consciousnesses
Yes.
inside of the bodies from the alternate timeline. So
Right.
it's
Correct.
not even Elmo's real, but these are not the fully real people that we're watching anyway. I guarantee you that anyone who dies in this season will be back when they fix the timeline
Hmm.
at the end of the season.
I'm starting to see your argument.
This
I'm
is
starting to see it
not
there. Yeah.
real. They didn't have anything to do with Elmo this season. Also, it would have been complicated and annoying to have those jokes about he needs to put a beanie or a bandana on every time he's walking in the street. They were just like, you know what? Move on. Maybe Elmo, he's a hot young model. Maybe he's got modeling to do somewhere out on the planet. You know
he's
what I mean?
he's a hot young model. How come
He
you didn't
is.
model? You looked very modelly when you were young, by the way.
Oh,
You're still
really?
young. Yeah, yeah. I feel like you should have modeled a little in your youth. Just
No.
FYI.
This
It's
is
a
just
little.
because you're very kind. I don't think people want to see me modeling out there. The
You're gonna have to model
the
for
guy that
me.
rants about Star Trek sitting on his computer there. No, it's fine.
I feel like we'll have to do some modeling in Chicago when
Oh, okay, I see.
like a cos. Are you doing a cosplay, by the way? Just as a quick sidebar.
Not really.
Oh, okay. I
I
don't
ordered,
think I'm gonna end up doing it
I
either.
don't think so. I ordered a uniform, but it's not the right size, and then I ordered a
Uh,
replacement. It's not
Bring your uniform.
coming.
Maybe it'll fit me because you're taller than me. I think so. Maybe I can buy it from you, so
Are
that
you
way you're
fatter
not.
than me? Are you rounder than me?
I might be. I don't know. It's hard to
I'll
tell on
bring
these
I'll
video
bring
things.
every Star Trek thing I have, and then We'll do a lucky dip or something. We'll
A
try and
lucky
figure.
dip. A lucky dip. Oh my goodness. All right, back to Elnor's death for a second. I just wanted to highlight. I took these snapshots and put them together because I felt that the scene was brilliantly acted by Michelle Hurd and
Yes.
Evan Evagora. I actually, death scenes are tough to make it look real, but I like this one. And even though it used a trope that I'm very familiar with, the distract your friend while you die trope, like here, pull out this thing that means so much to me and read it as I die. As I die, and he died. He died while she was looking at it and admiring it. So it was even more heartbreaking that she wasn't there to keep him,
Well, she said that she saw him
hanging
die
on.
in
Well,
the
no, I know, but
episode.
like, what I mean to say is like the whole time she's like, prove
I
it to
know.
me. You
I
know what I
know.
mean? She's like, prove it to me. The one moment she looks away and like is out of her crazy, kind of like panic for a moment, and he like, in other words, his death, he like calms her down, like he
Yeah,
like does a sweet thing
it was a
for
great scene.
her. Yeah, it was a great
I
death
do
scene.
think we are missing. I'm such a complainer. I think we're missing something from Rafi though,
What do you
and
think we're
not
missing?
in the performance or not in the scene. What I mean is like story wise, I'm filling in this huge gap that I know in in season one. Basically, she had the argument with her son, and her son said, "Look, piss off," basically.
Yeah,
So she lost her
she's
son.
filling in the
Yeah.
gaps with
So
Elnor
she
for
lost her
sure. Yeah.
son and she lost I guess her daughter and her granddaughter like in that whole thing because her son was, they were having a child. So she lost I guess that family and so she's clearly filling the void with Elnor. And she's clearly developed like a true relationship and a closeness with Elnor because she was even joining the same ship as him to be close to him, all of that stuff. Um,
I
I
think I
I
think it'd
just
be in,
feel like maybe episode one could have given us. I almost feel like episode one could have just given us like flashbacks to like the year and a half that happened between
mm,
the, so that I could have really, like I think that this scene would have had even more depth if we had really seen their relationship strengthen and grow for that year and like how she had really become. I guess is it surrogate mother the way you call it or like
yeah.
he had become her ward maybe something like that like I don't know, but I feel like that would have given the scene even more weight. But it
I would
was
have
really good, and
also
they both had great
personally
performances.
I would have personally also liked to see scenes like that, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me so much that they're not there because I do think, just as you brilliantly inferred it and expressed it, I think the audience can eventually infer and feel
Mm.
that as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I
but
agree with Joel too. He says maybe Elno was too powerful to bring to the past, like he Jackie Chan someone.
yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of folks
he's
say
really
yeah,
strong. So yeah,
yeah.
maybe he's like yeah,
Again, we get the mechanics of why he's off the board, quote unquote. You know what I mean? And it
yeah.
is also interesting, just like I feel like there's this like chess analogy that's been occurring, or like just games in general. Like last season they were playing poker. This year there's a lot of, I feel like, Q says you're the very board that the game's being played on. So I imagine chess. I don't know why I just like go straight to chess. But in a way, that's like how chess works. It's like as you're playing the game, the queen is struggling. The queen is the most powerful player on the board,
Why is it not Monopoly? Monopoly's played on a board
or
also. You
checkers.
don't.
I guess it could be
Yeah,
checkers too. The queen's like the most powerful player on the board, so she's like making
it's the
moves
game of life,
and
baby.
gambits. And I guess one of her gambits was like, do I survive? So they had to sacrifice Elnor.
Everyone is being played by Q.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
It's all Q.
Although this time Q seems to think he's part of the game as well. It seems like something
He's
something
a
really heavy is integral. It seems to be
Yeah, Q's a victim. Q's Ron. He's on the horse and he's gonna get whacked off.
But yeah, but that's interesting that you say that. What did you think of the follow up though? When Rafi, she's confronting Jean Luc and
Well,
oh,
that's
by
what
the
I
way, the
did.
other thing, back to Elnor for a second. I love that I'm stronger than you think, and then he makes his first joke about like the organs. I'm busy with the organs and stuff like that. Um, but and then now is the moment is what the translation
So
has. But
this is the scene that I didn't really enjoy
mm,
because I feel like she's disappointed in leadership and she's trying to hurt Picard, but like she doesn't understand leadership clearly. If or maybe she was too emotional to like correctly see what was going on. But I was like, clearly we don't need Elnor. We do need the War Queen. So you're wrong. And also, I felt like that she got really, really overwhelmed for like a Starfleet officer that she's lieutenant commander or
Mm-hmm.
commander
A
even.
commander, I would
She's
say, yeah.
commander. Like, yo, I'm not saying that death is easy. I'm not saying that every captain and every commander should be able to deal with death. But it's like maybe you should like better contain your emotions for the sake of the mission as it stands. Like you're jeopardizing everything by just letting go. You know what I mean? So I wasn't too fond of this scene personally. She did a really good job though. Like all of the actors are doing a really good job with what they're given here. I just don't think the scene worked too well. Though I do understand like the personal loss behind it.
I felt it was a little too. I felt it was like important to put in there because I think it was a good way of kind of like, uh, showing Rafi. She still resorts to kind of her like, like accusations of Jean Luc because she's very much had a bigger chip on her shoulder like last season, but I
Yeah.
like that it's done a little bit more professionally this time. She says disappointment in leadership. Like when you actually hear what she says, it's not like as bad as like what she has said in the past about Jean Luc. You know what I mean? Um, but I really like this scene because it shows that one of the things that I did like about the scene, especially, is that like the way it was framed was interesting. I don't know if I captured that screenshot. I may not have,
Well, it's
but
interesting the screenshot that you have here. It's like it's an argument between two characters, but you still have Seven just checking in on them, like on the side there.
there's a wider shot that I'm sorry I didn't. I guess I missed that screenshot. I meant to get that screenshot, but it shows Rafi in the foreground, Seven in the middle, and then Rios, Agnes, and Picard at the end. So it shows the visually. It also shows the divide, where the divide is. I mean, you have Jean Luc and Rafi at odds with each other. You have like Rios and Girardi who are pretty loyal to Jean Luc at the time, and you have Seven who's like trying her best to like be compassionate to
Support.
Rafi, but like be in the middle, sort of, kind of, yeah. So I thought that was like a really nice way of illustrating
It's
the
bizarre
dynamic.
that she would like. It's bizarre that she would kind of like question. Oh, is that what she's saying here? The scene devastated me. Someone close to Picard thought he was playing along with Q and making people's lives awful.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy that like Rafi would even kind of dare imply that Picard is like a monster like that, and that he's
yeah.
like on Q's level and doing Q. I don't see anyone from TNG or any of his closer friends, or like even if you want to say that Picard doesn't have friends, like all of his colleagues or people that respect him, no one would ever accuse him of doing that. I feel like Rafi is just. It's like
Trying to hurt him. I think she's
at
trying to
some
hurt
point
him
you're
almost,
so
right?
bitter and mad about him that
Yeah.
you impoverished yourself in season one. Just piss off. Like if you can't deal with being around him, and if you're gonna blame him for every single thing, even the things that maybe some things are less justified than others, but like if you can't deal with him, just leave, go away, stop being around him at this
And
point.
I love this counterpoint that's prevented. And shout out to Kevin Richardson for pointing this out. Picard does have a history of using people. I love that this season finally addresses
Well, the
it. And
Federation as a whole uses people.
yeah, it's true. Picard has a history of ghosting people as well. It makes sense that it will come back to haunt him. It's kind of a true thing. He does ghost you.
Okay, who does he ghost before Picard's season?
His
Like, who
whole
does he
crew,
ghost in
his whole
TNG
damn
though?
crew, his whole
Okay,
damn
no, no,
crew.
no. Who does
It's
he
like,
ghost in TNG?
I think every woman that he ever had like a
He
relationship with say
doesn't ghost
he's a
people in
ghoster. No, I
TNG.
don't know. It's true.
When
He,
Picard season one
I
picks
feel like
up, they
that
tell you that he ghosted everyone.
it's
Like, he doesn't
it's
do that in
it's
TNG.
more of this period after TNG. I think that's
Yeah, he
Picard
becomes
started. He becomes like a
a
ghoster.
ghoster.
um, Textrek says, I would be frustrated with Q shenanigans too. I can understand why someone would blame Jean Luc, even if I think it is unfair. Grief is blinding. That's a really good point, but it's surprising to me that like it maybe it says something about this like during this whole time, and it does fit. Like after TNG, you never see Q again, and I kind of thought we never would see him
What?
again.
You see Q all the
No,
time.
sorry. After the TNG era, like after like is like as we go into the movies, as we follow the Jean Luc story, if you will, right? But you're right. Actually, no, I take that back
We
because
see him
Lower
all the
Decks does
time.
establish that
We
Q's
see him in Lower
popping in.
Decks.
Yeah,
Him in
it's true.
Voyager
Yeah,
season
yeah, I take it back.
39.
Yeah, so I guess
We see him in Picard.
I am surprised that Raffi would have that view of Q. I do think I agree with Textrek that she's probably just grief stricken and lashing out, and she does know better, and maybe she'll apologize later on to Jean Luc. So, you know, it is sad because we did get that wonderful moment where she says "I love you" to Jean Luc last
I, I,
season,
I just want to
and
say I agree with all these people that are saying like Picard ghosted Deanna and Riker, Picard ghosted like Elnor, but all of these people that he's done this to, it's all story that was written in Picard. This is not something that he did in TNG. This is something that they established he started doing when they started writing Picard. Like
yeah,
this is
exactly.
a new thing that he
Yeah,
does.
exactly. No, I agree with that. Yeah. Um, but yeah, very powerful scene. But this is where we kind of get the crew divides up. Jean Luc feels Rafi's too emotional, so he asks Rios and Seven. I guess Seven volunteers to go, but he asks Rios to go with her, and then Seven as well volunteers,
They made
and
him
then
more of an asshole in Picard, didn't they?
what's
Like
that?
they made Jean-Luc Picard more of an asshole than he was. Like he was always a bit cold. Like season one Picard was very different, but like generally speaking, Picard was kind of like a cold, you know what I mean? Very professional, kind of distant person, I guess. But like he wasn't as much an asshole as he is like now. Like he became really a bitter old annoyance in his old age. I don't know what happened there that just screwed him over completely, but I don't know. Like the worst he did in TNG was not really keep in contact with his family out at the farm, out at the vineyard, and he didn't really want to take over.
He ghosted Anish on the Baku planet as well.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
I mean, that was
Though we don't see what happens. I was thinking about it. Though we don't see what happens, but I can see that.
By the way, I love Anish. I love her lips. I can't do it right now. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? She has like this most gorgeous lips, and she like kind of does this pouty thing. Like, I can't do. Am I doing it? Do you see me
All
like
I can remember is the Wolf pimples.
slow down, Trek on the tube.
Oh, is this where like everything like slows? It becomes
Yeah,
the slow mo shot,
I
and
can't
it's
do
like
the.
the is it the bird that's doing this, the whatever, or she does she blow? What happened? I forget the scene.
Oh, just a real quick. Thanks again for the housekeeping here. Who watches the Watchers is one of my my wrench people. Like they approve comments. It's not anyone trying to block it. Google's algorithm is just very strict. So if you put in um, a traditional curse word, it will try to hold your comment
It'll
for
shut you
use.
down.
It'll shut you down in case you don't see
It'll
those
send
comments.
you back to where you
I
came
don't think
from.
I even see them on StreamYards. I have to look on. I have to open another stream on YouTube to see those comments. So
Oh
thank
my.
you to our admin. What are they called again? Moderators. Thank you to our moderators for helping out with that, and audience
The
if you want to.
mods.
Yeah.
They're
Also,
like the Vespa gang from Boba Fett. You've got
you can curse in Star Trek languages, and it's not. So if you say
Kapla.
patak, yeah, if you say
No,
patak,
why am I saying
yeah,
Kapla?
Kapla
Patak.
success.
God
If
damn
you
it.
say patak, that'll work. Vortavor, no, that's not a curse word, but you know what I mean. There's like lots of Star Trek in-world curse words.
We need to
By the way,
talk about. We
have you
need to.
ever
Yes, go.
have you ever done a video on the cursing in other languages in Star Trek?
No, I haven't done that.
Oh, that'd be an
Do we have
interesting one.
enough curse words in other languages in Star Trek to
That's a
justify,
good
like,
question. I
warrant
don't
a
know,
video?
but carry
I
on.
could
Where
go
were you?
full Trek culture. Top 10 alien curse words.
Shout out to our friend Paul Sutherland, who's over at Trek Culture, who does some of those listicles. It's true. We'll have to ask him if he's ever done a top 10 curse words in language in universe curse words in Star Trek. Where were you gonna go next?
I was gonna go. I was gonna go with my favorite plot line, of the three that we had. Rios. That was my favorite.
Oh, okay. We could, yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Jump over to Rio. Before we go there, can we just talk a little bit about Seven, and the
Okay.
humanity real quick? I
Okay.
know, just because I just want to touch on this, and I also took the screenshot. This one, and then also there's
In
another
case you
one.
haven't noticed, this is what like the third time they've done this in 3 episodes.
It is, but it's interesting. Jurg on Twitter posted also that she kind of does this before, like in Voyager. There's
Oh
been
yeah. It's
instances like so it's like
yeah.
a callback to Voyager, but also I just want to say that like it is kind of interesting because I love the way Jerry Ryan's playing this. I don't know Seven too well yet. Like I mean I know her. I'm starting to get to know her really well, and I'm starting to see the Seven come out like as I've seen her on Voyager, but also there's something new which makes sense to me, and I think it's done very well. It's that she no longer has any Borg implants because she was assimilated as a child, right?
Yes.
So she no longer has any Borg implants because of this road not taken version of her,
Hmm.
and so she's feeling things that I'm imagining she never felt before. Like she's probably feeling her humanity and emotions in a way, and I feel like the acting kind of backs this up with how she's responding to people like not being scared of her, how she's like stopping to smell the roses, and she's more relaxed, if you will, because she's not getting all this sensory input being fed to her about her environment that you would get fed to you as a XB, with Borg implants. So I think it's
What's it?
pretty interesting and cool how they did that.
What's it called? I think it's called Unimatrix
Right, she's the
Zero.
tertiary adjunct of Unimatrix Zero. I also thought this scene was cute when they
No,
arrive
but
in
there's an
LA.
episode I think called Unimatrix Zero. There's like a double episode, which is not my favorite episode of Star Trek. But there's like a double episode where you learn that the Borg hive has like this underlying kind of program that drones can like access, but they go there to be themselves. They go there to be their former self or themselves, not as drones, and they can all live in this
Right.
like little community together. They live like kind of like a matrix community, or like it's like a San Junipero almost, from Black Mirror, where they all live
Yeah, I get that
together
reference.
without being Borg. And I think that would be the closest that comes to this, because in that she then experiences a reality where she doesn't have like any implants at all. She's not Borg at all. So she learns to like discover her human self, her real, true human self. But of course, that is still just something that's going on in their minds. Like they have to be regenerating as Borgs when they're doing that, right?
Yeah, so I don't know that episode. I'm just realizing. So Father's pointing out that Unimatrix Zero parts 1 and 2 are the season 6
Okay.
and 7 finale. So I just started season 6, so I should be
Okay.
getting there pretty soon. So
So
yeah, to
yeah,
answer your question, it's a episode I haven't seen yet, but I'm excited about it. Maybe I'll skip to it and watch it. Um,
well, it's got an interesting concept. It's just not my favorite episode. I think that like it's not the Star Trek Voyager has a lot of two-parters, and I think a lot of them are very hit and miss, honestly. But
Joel wants to know: does Seven perceive less of the world without the implants? I would say she perceives it
differently, right?
differently. Maybe not less, but differently. Like maybe
Like
less in
Joel.
the sense of there's not a lot of telemetry about like sensor things. Like she can't quickly tell you, oh, that's like a spruce tree or a whatever her augmented reality was is gone. So
Yeah.
she yeah,
I
like
think she has a less factual input in the sense that she can't tell you what kind of tree it is or what species of bee she's looking at, but she probably has she probably reads emotional cues better, or body language maybe.
right. And she definitely can't do the time travel calculation. So backing up the Borg Queen's
So she's
value,
become dumb.
even
No.
she's wow. I wouldn't say that.
No, I
Uh,
wouldn't say that.
as we're getting into the Rios bits, which I think
No, wait a
were
minute.
really
Let
great.
me put up the Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, thank you.
What
But
is it?
here, uh,
What are they called? Sanctuaries,
Sanctuary
right?
District, yeah. Cisco's would have been in San Francisco, but a
Oh, really?
similar
Oh,
thing.
my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. Yeah, I was just realizing that we were talking about this offline, but yeah, you're right. This is like we don't know actually. I'm speculating that this takes place just shortly after the Bell riots. Like I think that we're
Well,
seeing
what
the
year was the Bell Riots?
same year, 2024.
Oh, okay. So this is the same thing, and this is 2 years before World War Three starts.
I guess so. Yeah.
World War Three is like 2026.
Okay.
So
So yeah,
this is a whole situation.
And they go into like this is kind of the brink of,
Look,
and
I found it. It's the same thing.
oh, here, pull
Okay,
it. Go ahead and share your screen and we'll pull it up.
look at it. Look at it. It's the same.
Oh, cool. We have a text track has
See,
pointed out. Yeah, see there? Look at that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
it's so depressing to look at this. It almost feels like it's just like a journalistic photo that's been taken.
Yeah, yeah. Same here,
Well,
by the way.
that too. That just looks like
Yeah.
they just went to Los Angeles and took a photo.
Okay, so here we go. Text Trek has actually figured it out. I didn't catch that on the stream. I might have been distracted, but maybe you figured it
Oh,
out
this is
after or
before the
did.
bell rights. Okay.
Yeah, so Picard is in January of 2024, and the Bell Riots are in September
Okay,
of
so it's a while
2024.
before.
So yeah, then this would still be a sanctuary district for sure. And you definitely see evidence of that. I also like the juxtaposition of like the Europa mission advertisement that you see there
Mm,
versus like this extreme poverty. So it's like humans kind of this is something that's a part of the social discourse at the moment right now. I think at least what I'm seeing is like you know we're doing all these private companies are doing these space missions to like
yeah,
Mars and
that's what
stuff
comes
like
to mind,
that.
right?
Yeah, and yet there's so many
You got
problems here
like
on Earth.
Elon
Yeah.
Musk and what have you. They've got all of these huge space missions, but then at the same time, you have like problems in the U.S. with COVID, where people quite simply just can't feed themselves anymore. They don't have that kind of money anymore.
Yeah.
So there is like the divide is huge at the moment.
Yeah, we'll call this slide California Dreamin'. Not really the dream that the mamas and papas had in
Yeah,
had in
California
mind.
screaming.
California screaming. so so we get Rafi arrive, Seven and Rios arrive all in different places. So we get little glimpses of what's going on. Seven and Rafi meet up really quickly, but we have poor Rios who ends up falling. He materializes in the air and falls and injures himself. And he basically, how did I put it? Rios pulls a Chekhov.
Rios pulls a Chico. I'm unclear as to why they were all beamed in separate like play. There was a
They say
line.
it in
I
the
feel like I didn't catch that line, right?
they say it in the episode. So what happens is before they're able to repair the Borg Queen and restore power to the ship, there's enough power left to transport one time in one direction, is what Rio says. He says, but some geospatial stabilizers aren't functioning, so we may not appear in the same look. We may not we won't materialize in the same location, just near each other. So we'll have to find each other when we get there. So they do explain
Okay.
why that occurs. And I do feel like Rafi again in that scene says we could have used that power for the bio bed, which is a heartbreaking little thing that she says. So she's very much in her grief there, but yeah. So Sean, no
Yeah, I
one
read
got the
it. That's
Watcher joke
perfect.
because they forgot about Dre. Is that also funny? Because do people
Yes,
forget about
because
Dre?
the Watcher is a joke, and forgot about Dre is also a joke.
Yeah.
Sorry, what am I saying? The Watcher is the name of a song, and forgot about Dre is also the name of a song on the same album. So it works on multiple levels. I enjoy these Dr. Dre jokes.
um, we figured out when Picard takes place. Tune in. Wait, we figured out when Picard takes place. Tune in. Text Trek Friday night at 7 p.m. Central and hear how we know that. Oh, okay. So we got to wait a whole week. Man, Text Trek does a good job at those.
He's promoting his shit here.
Yeah, like
He's got
that's
those,
really good. Like now I'm like, how can I get to Friday already?
how can I
If you
get
don't talk
Friday?
about it, Father, everyone's gonna be mad. So you
Slingshot
better
around the sun.
remember.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna make a parenthesis here before we talk about Rios and everything. I
Yes.
think that this episode dealt with the slingshot around the sun in a way that I never thought Star Trek would.
Yay! I'm
It
glad
is
you went back to that. Hold on.
so good. From the beginning of the existence of like my love for this franchise, I have always thought that slingshotting around the sun is the most corny, stupid, and simple way of time traveling.
Really?
And I thought I didn't like it. I was like, it's so dumb. Let's just ignore it and forget about it. It's just something that like TOS did. It's like not TOS, but the TOS movies. I thought, okay, it works for like a joke thing, whatever, slingshot around the sun. it's not a real time travel thing. It's just like a gimmicky thing. But the way they explain it here and the way they deal with it in this show is like it's really complicated to do. You need like actually really precise calculations, and Spock can do it because he has that Vulcan mind of his, but also because like he's a very intelligent Vulcan, right? Slash human, but he's like a very intelligent individual. He's very precise, and so he was an exception. And so the way that they explain how complicated and how difficult it is, and the entire scene is so good about like the visuals, the intensity of the moment, actually doing the slingshot. It was all so good that now not only am I completely on board with slingshotting around the sun as being like a completely valid and real world way of time traveling, but but also I feel like it's
Wow.
it's
You
solid.
think
It's
you think we should you think we
We should
should
try
build a
it. You
spaceship
and
and
me, we
try
should
it?
just go
We should
try it.
just where would we go back to? Where would you go back?
It doesn't matter. We'd probably end up in the sun, I'm afraid to say. But we can try it. No, but I think it was so well executed. Like from like it was well executed visually, and I do think that for the rest of the franchise now, it has set a precedent by like saying we can do it, but it's a very complicated thing to do. It's a very complex kind of like thing, and I really like that. I think it's a win all around for me. I'm very happy with the way they handled the slingshot.
I agree. I also, by the way, we have to give a shout out to Leah Thompson, the director of this episode. She did such an amazing job, in my opinion, at directing. She's really good at director. I think it's really funny how she is herself a huge part of a time travel story slash trilogy, the Back to the Future trilogy, and Terry Metalis was part of one too. So like, I feel like the way the time travel's handled in this is just done really sharp, really flash, but also
They
really
brought they
well
brought
thought
they brought
out.
the they brought on the time team
The
to,
time team,
to
yeah.
deal with Star Trek.
This is the time. I hope you tweet that later on because I think it's true and it's the time team. It's true. Um, but yeah, I also thought it was cool. In my headcanon, if you will, I imagine that what they're looking, because they all have these expressions of awe as they're looking out
Mm.
there. So and like things are moving backwards in the backgrounds and stuff like that. And so to me, that's like
Yeah, the Agnes Girardi tear that's
yeah, the
rolling back
tear.
up. I
She's
don't know.
seeing those
I
giant
don't. That was
heads.
that was a
She's
bit.
seeing the giant heads like morph in and out, and they're hearing their mission. They're hearing like the stuff that's gonna happen in there. All that
Agnes
stuff is
Girardi is
happening.
a character that cries like 80% of the episodes in which she is. I don't think we needed to see her tear roll
I liked
back,
it. I liked
unless
it.
unless it was like symbolic, saying, "Look, she's no longer gonna cry."
She
The
hasn't. She
tears are
hasn't.
leave. The tears are rolling back up. It's finished.
Joel says we need the heads. No, I'm glad we can imagine, but we did get this crazy ass visualization of time warp, and I wish someone would put that on a loop, and that I could just watch it while I listen to music.
You make yourself go crazy there.
You would see Starfleet Boy do that expression for sure if
It was
that
a
were the
very well
case.
directed episode, honestly.
Yeah. But here's some more scenes. Like, I mean, they couldn't have done this in Star Trek Six.
The
I
the
mean, Star
cin-
Trek Four. It's like
the
really cool.
cinematography, I think the
Yeah.
cinematography on this show, like from season one, has always been, and the direction has always been very clean. It's very professional. It's very clean. It's very adult. I think that it's never rough. It's never like amateurish. It's never trying too hard. It really just is clean. And I think to add to that, now we're getting some nice little ship shots. They're holding on like on the effects that they have. They seem, I feel like we have less visual effects than in season one, but they're more proud of the ones that they have. So we're being able to like indulge, a bit more and actually spend time looking at them. So I think that
Yeah.
it's
Marty McFly's mom did direct this episode, and she's directing the next one. I think it looks like they're doing episodes in pairs because, like, the first two episodes
it
were
was
the
Doug
same.
Aaron
Aroniakowski, I think is how
Yeah.
you say it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what they did. That's what they did last season, didn't they?
Was it like that too? I don't
It
remember.
was kind of grouped. Well, they had Hanali Culpepper do the three
The first
first.
three first ones,
Frakes
right?
Frakes did 4, 5. I don't know how to say this, but Maja Vrilvo, she did 6 and 7, and Akiva Goldsman did 9 and 10. So there's only just one that was done by Doug Aaron Yakovsky here that did Nepenthe. So good man doing Nepenthe, eh? I guess
Kate,
they couldn't have Frakes do Nepenthe.
Both Cake is Eternal, and I think Marcelo on our space discussion on Friday pointed out that Leah Thompson also directed 2 episodes of Resident Alien, which is a
Oh,
Robert Duncan McNeil's
that,
baby. Yeah, with Alan Tudyk
yeah,
playing
that's
the
Alan Tudyk's show, right? Yeah.
show. Yeah.
Robert
So
Duncan McNeil's baby.
yeah, Duncan McNeil's like the executive producer or something like that on that
Oh,
show.
really? On Resident Alien?
Yeah.
Because he's also the executive producer on the new Turner and Hooch
Oh, really?
Disney Plus show. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yo, Tom Paris out here getting that cash, yo.
I
He's
know.
producing.
Can we bring him to Star Trek too? He's got to come back to Star Trek. I feel
Come
like,
on.
right? Like not just a cameo, but like directing or even producing
No,
a
he'll
show.
be producing like a pod racer show on Star Wars before he comes back to Star Trek.
So okay, so by the way, they crash land in Chateau Picard, which I didn't catch the first time around, but once I caught it later, I was like,
Okay,
oh,
that
that's
was a
pretty cool.
very Generations scene, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, like
The
going through
crash,
the crash. Yes, you're
the
right.
trees and everything. I was
It
like,
just didn't
okay.
go long as long.
No, it didn't go as long. It wasn't as like I guess impressive because it wasn't like the big screen and the big saucer
Yeah, it was
section.
like a
But
mini version of
it
it.
was it was clearly.
Before we go to Rios, or do you want to end with the Borg Queen? Because Braxton's working out, waiting for us to talk about the Borg Queen, and I don't think we've actually done enough justice to
Okay, well
her.
let's talk about the Borg Queen.
All right, then let's talk. That brings us to Girardi and the Borg Queen and the whole
Okay.
scene. So while Rios is doing his thing, back on the ship, Jean-Luc and Girardi are trying to Girardi's trying to get half assimilated so she can find out
No,
whatever.
she wants to get 8% assimilated, right?
No, the Borg Queen's at 8% power. She has to bring her back up to 100% by getting half assimilated.
Oh, okay, I see.
So that's the whole thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
I
didn't
don't
follow the
understand
numbers.
I don't understand how assimilation works in Voyager, so I have a huge kind of like blank knowledge, but I heard there's got to be like nanoprobes and stuff inside of Girardi now, right? Like is that correct? Like is that how the Borg Queen.
Not from what I understand.
Okay.
From what I understand, because the Borg originally didn't. The Borg started assimilating with nanoprobes later on. Like the first TNG Borgs that we see, they don't do nanoprobes. They just kind of knock you out, take you home, and then maybe they inject nanoprobes later, or then they start modifying you. So they kind of infect your mind first or something like that. I think the nanoprobes came in later as like when they upgraded, they were able to nanoprobe you on the fly. You know how they just first contact you? Like,
Yeah.
well, in the movie, what I mean. So I think that came later on. I think she would be able to assimilate without, like, she just creates this kind of telepathic link here,
Hmm.
and then she kind of like absorbs you into what is the hive that is her. Like she's the hive, I
Yeah,
guess.
she's now the hive, yeah.
So she's able to absorb you, and then later on, if she wanted to inject nanoprobes, she could, and that would enable you to, I guess, regenerate better and be able to breathe in space, that kind of stuff. And then she could also start applying like enhancements, cutting off your arms and giving you better things, right? Better arms with claws and flashy lights and everything.
Oh,
So
here
that's how I
we got
understand it.
we got also an explanation. The Borg Queen's nanoprobes were neutralized in episode 2.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, but I don't think
fa-
she needs any.
they explain that.
Everyone's mad at us.
Look. They explain that if you pay attention.
Oh my goodness.
Damn, Tech Track.
Hot damn. I don't think she needs them though.
She doesn't need him, and she doesn't have him. So yeah, they de-nanoprobe the Borg. It's
Braxton
kind of
says
like
he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Dang. Shit, I don't think Toddy knows what he's talking about. Fathery, help! Oh my god. Okay,
You should have let me talk about Rios.
we will.
This is going wrong.
That being said, though, it was cool to see okay. All the technical shit aside, the acting was superb in this scene because the acting, directing, and editing was superb in this scene because it was very clear to me what was happening. Like, and it was a very complicated situation. You have Picard monitoring the vitals of both. You have Girardi exploring the Borg Queen. You have the Borg Queen exploring Girardi, and Alison Pill does it flawless. Like, you can tell when she's the Borg Queen. You can tell when she's her. She's like doing these like really cool like back and forth, even without the voice enhancement that we get like towards the end when it's like really dangerous. But all of that is building. Like, and then Picard's like,
Mine at the end was a bit I
Mine,
know.
mine, mine. But you know, it's like that's when Picard's like, all right, this is too freaky, and he disconnects it. But it was enough to get the mission accomplished. And then of course, you know, my girl Girardi gets the one up on the Borg Queen, and she's like, you. What does she say? The Borg Queen. She says, hold on, I actually have it here as a quote.
What does Agnes say? Or what does the Borg Queen say?
The Borg Queen says, hold on, I have it here. Let's see
Well,
here.
the
Here we
Borg
go.
Queen says, and I quote, "You ain't got shit on me."
She says, "What you have done, what you have just done here,
Yeah.
is more difficult and vastly more dangerous than you realize." And Girardi's like, "And what's that?" And she's like, "You've impressed me," which is such a great scene. So yeah, it's pretty powerful, but
So is
also
so is Agnes the Borg Queen in episode
that
one,
Jill asked that earlier in the chat. I meant to go back and
or
highlight that.
is Picard's mother the Borg Queen in episode one?
I'm still gonna hold. I can't. I think it's too soon
Is
for a
Elnor
guess.
the Borg Queen
That's kind of
episode
like,
one?
you know, the Borg Queen, c'est moi. Je suis la Borg Queen. I feel like I am the Borg Queen. No, that Elnor being the Borg Queen would explain her moves in that episode. But no, I don't think it's Elnor either. I think it might be the running contenders are Seven, Girardi, or Picard's mom somehow. So that's what's going on with
So
that.
you're convinced that the Borg Queen that we saw is a character that we know from the season. Like it's a character that we know that's been established. It's not like just a Borg Queen from the future. You think it has to be linked. I mean, I think it seems pretty clear, like the way she's saying "look up Picard" and that kind of shit.
Yeah,
You know,
there's like
it's like it's
something.
too
It's
specific.
too. Yeah, yeah, agreed. Although the Borg would know that information as well, so who know? You know, but it is very odd. But yeah, who knows? It is one of the mysteries. I mean, they put her
It's
in a mask
Burnham.
for
Something
everything.
happened.
It's Burnham.
Something happened in the future that we don't know about.
The other line that I loved about the when the Borg Queen kind of wakes up is I've had the strangest dream. You you were there, small companion, which is I think if I'm not mistaken a reference to the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy wakes up and says to Toto that you were there too, like the dot, you know, like so
Oh,
I don't
really?
know.
You think?
Yeah, you know what
Okay.
I mean? Like I don't know. That's the vibe that I got. Audience, let us know what you think. Was that a reference to the Wizard of
Okay.
Oz? I'm not sure if it was. I will give Agnes 79% chance of being the Borg Queen. Says who watches the Watchers.
Is this because 7 of 9? Is that why it's a 79% chance,
That's clever.
or is that just like the
Whoever
number?
it is calls him Picard. Now, 7 of 9 calls him Picard, and I think Girardi also calls him Picard. They don't call him Jean Luc. So, yeah, that makes sense. So, it would be the two of
There ain't no
them.
JL.
Joel says one of the best hacking scenes ever. Yes, that's what it felt like. It felt like a full on, like a hack. So, it's true. The height of Borg Queen does not match Girardi's height. And then Textrick says, I'm eager to see more of Picard's mom and learn what the story is there. I'm a sucker for mother son stories. Same here. PE also points out eventually, after the Borg Queen becomes more accepted by the crew and she becomes more relaxed and casual, they will start just calling her Queen for sure. BQ. Could they call her? Would you be down with BQ, Toddy?
I don't
All
know.
right, let's talk about
I'm
Rios.
not too good with the BQ. No, I wanted to say that I think that the Rios plot line was the most interesting to me on like basically two levels. First of all, I I, I felt it was very touching in the sense that it reflects kind of like the reality,
Mm-hmm.
like a very sad reality that exists in this world. And like the whole thing about like illegal immigrants, and that's a whole other topic in and of itself, like illegal immigrants and like immigration and that kind of stuff. But like, I think that whether or not you agree or disagree with the fact that people should illegally immigrate, I think that we can all agree that raiding a friggin' hospital or like a clinic where people are going to get helped, that is kind of immoral. It's very unethical. It's also not like these cops are just someone's driving too fast, they pull them over, give me your license and registration. Oh, the person has no identity, so like has no ID, fine, we'll bring them in. This is like they're specifically using time and resources to go out and hunt for people. You know what I mean? That aren't necessarily, you know, troublemakers at this time. So it's like it's a very delicate and I think kind of a moral situation, but it's also very reflective of what happens in the real world across the world, not just in the US. So
Yeah.
I think it worked on that level, and then it also worked on. It was like it reminded me so much of one of my favorite TNG episodes, First Contact, where Riker is out on this alien planet, and he has to get dragged into the hospital because the mission goes wrong, and so all of these aliens figure out that like his internal organs they're not right, and he's not actually an alien like them. It reminded me so much of that. And I think that's one of the episodes that I gave like a 10 out of 10 on Starfleet Boy, actually, First Contact.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if I recall
So I
correctly.
really liked that, And then, of course, I felt that he was like so brave and dumb, but so brave to do the whole. I'm a doctor thing. We got to save this patient and what have you. You know what hit me. My final thought is that, and this is really, really sad, but I feel like the way he was wrestled against the wall by the cops, I feel like that wasn't violent enough. I don't feel like it accurately depicted how cops in the US are. And I don't mean to like generalize and say all cops are terrible people, but I feel like of the images that we see online of the way people are treated in the US by certain officers, that scene could have been a lot more rough and it would have been even more believable.
Yeah, I hate. I can't. I
I,
can't.
I
I
I'm I'm
can't
not
really.
happy about saying that, but I kind of
Yeah.
feel like when I saw it, I was like, they were gentle enough. Like I feel like they wouldn't have been as gentle in the real world.
Well stated, and then I feel so sad to say that I can't disagree with any of that. Like, I wish it were true that we didn't have these things going on, but it is pretty bad here in the
I
U.S.
like
and
her.
as you say,
I
other
think she was
places.
very good. She was a
Yeah.
great actor. She's a great character, and I
By the
would
way,
like
that's
them to take
Sol
her with them.
Rodriguez. The actor's name is Sol Rodriguez.
Okay.
And so yeah, she plays Dr. Teresa. And I talk. By the way, I was thinking her name was Rios. I was thinking there was going to be a thing, but on IMDb she's known as Dr. Teresa Ramirez. So I'm not sure that
I would enjoy them to take her with them, but then on one
like
hand,
a
it's
Jillian. You think like Dr.
yeah.
Jillian Taylor, sort of that kind
But
of
that
thing.
but that all depends on how like the denouement of like the whole time thing is, because maybe it's important that she stays on Earth doing what she can to help the people that are on Earth in this time. Like she's doing good clearly. So, but I would like it if they took her.
Oh, this is wild. Jill says, who watches the watch says, cops came to my house to detain me this week because the person after me in the gas station didn't pay. I was on edge for days after that. I had my receipt, so they went away. Wow, that's crazy. Um, HBO Max has a new sci-fi series called DMZ that came out the same day as this episode, and in it there is
As in
also a
what,
scene where a
demilitarized
medical
zone?
clinic is raided. Yeah, clinics raiding clinics is a zeitgeist now. That's so sad. I love that you pointed out how dishonorable and amoral that is.
It is. It really is.
Yeah,
I understand. The thing is, I understand the logic behind it. It's because, oh well, people that don't have ID, they're gonna have to be healed somewhere. Like pregnant mothers have to go get like help. If they have trouble with the pregnancy, it's like criminals and thugs. If they're wounded or whatever, they have to go somewhere. So I feel like
yeah.
yes, it makes sense to go and look for people there. You're
It's
going to
like in
find them, but
it's
then
like in
like
Highlander, there should be neutral ground in any kind of conflict, like, and I feel like churches, as much as I disagree with religion, but churches maybe, and which also happens, by the way, churches are being raided, like places of worship, but I feel like hospitals and churches should be off limits. Let someone stand
yeah,
and face,
yeah, I feel like
your.
also it's not like it's a publicly like a federally funded hospital that's using like state resources or the country's resources to help these people. It's like she's doing it with her money. This is her clinic. You know what I mean? Like this is her clinic. She's clearly the owner. She's doing it out of her pocket, helping these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like she's wasting like everyone's resources. She's just using hers for what she seems fit to do with them. It's a very questionable at best thing to be doing this. But then again, it reflects the reality of life so much that it's kind of they were the worst couple. Oh my goodness.
Oh wait, we'll go back to them, but I just want to show two more screenshots that.
No, they were great. It's just like if I meet two people that are like that in real life, I'm like, oh my god, I can't deal with it.
Here's the screenshots. This is really powerful. Her facing down these like bully cops,
Mm,
like
mm.
immigration, and then also Rios coming in to save the day. I do like that. But here's the scene where he gets pushed up against the wall that you were talking about. What did you think of Dr. Teresa and her son overall? Like, I really hope that Text Track I think said it. I hope they stick around. I do hope they're like the of the time companions
Yeah, I think
here.
that would be good.
And I love it because I think that there's really cool things like how I like how she has ear piercings, like more than one. Dr. Teresa, she's like very much a person of her time. Also, the production team did a great job of capturing 2000, the 2020s. I mean, we're practically here at 2024. So, there's like on Text Track, they pointed out things about the atmosphere, like how there's hand sanitizers around. It just looks very real and familiar, like to what we're seeing today, and not too
They talk
far of a
about
stretch.
vaccination chips at some point, like
Well,
in the
that's something.
episode.
Yeah, that's something interesting that like they mentioned that like be careful because that could be scanned. So I think Agnes or whoever says it is assuming that they still have those chips even in this road not taken alternate, which they probably do. But yeah, that makes sense. Like it's interesting. Like especially if you serve in Starfleet, you're probably required to have these things because you're going to all these like strange new worlds. You're not going to be able to take every vaccine you possibly need. So maybe there's like a vaccination chip that just helps you out with like basic things as you go down to planets and stuff like that, or as you get into some regions. And then certainly, I
Imagine the
don't.
amount of checkups that you have to take to go like to an alien world. Well, I guess in Star Trek you just get a hypo spray, right?
Yeah, I guess it's true. Trek points out she's a millennial doctor. Yeah, millennial representation, like in Star Trek. It's totally true. It's totally true. Jurg and also Aaron Harvey pointed out something interesting about this, but there is a thing about the butterflies that they mention. So Jurg tweeted screenshots of all the butterfly logos. It's the Bad Wolf of Trek. This is pretty accurate. I don't think Toddy knows what Bad
I don't
Wolf
know what
is
the hell you
referring
guys are
to.
talking about.
So in episode 1, when we're aboard the La Serena with Seven, some of the containers have like this butterfly logo on them,
Okay,
and we know they're vaccines or something like that because Seven says like, "Hey, I'm carrying vaccines or medical supplies or something like that," right?
okay,
And the doctor's logo, the logo of this clinic, is the same butterfly logo. Um, so
okay.
it's like whatever this interestingly enough, whatever this organization is that's starting here in this clinic goes on to become something big and still lasts into the future because that logo is on containers.
So you see,
And
she
so
has to stay here. She's important.
yeah, she's important. There's an Edith Keeler, the definite Edith Keeler type of vibe going
Yeah.
on. There's
Also,
something
they
about
use
her.
butterflies because butterfly effect, right?
Exactly. I think it's on the nose. And then on Text Track, Aaron Harvey pointed out that because he's a graphic artist, so he found the stock image that they used for the butterfly.
Oh no.
So
Oh
yeah, that's
no,
really
Picard
funny.
has a problem with stock images there.
I don't know if it's a problem or if
Eee.
it's just the utility. I think Michael Okuda. I
Ooh.
bet you he probably used some stock imagery back in the day, or the designers did, but we just didn't know about
Yeah,
it enough because we didn't have like Shutterstock and stuff like that
maybe.
as
Well,
easy
maybe
to like.
maybe I guess it was like less easy to just type in like robot face, and then like the robot pops up, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna use this one unmodified in my show, you know.
Robot
Uh,
face. I think this is less egregious than that. Than that
Well,
is.
what's that one YouTube video where the fox decomposes again? Oh,
Oh
there it
yeah,
is.
yeah. That's also, but that pops up in a lot of stuff. I feel like I've seen that
Okay.
elsewhere. Rios is getting so good that I think he could lead a spin-off series. I 100% stand
Oh
for
my goodness,
this.
people
Yeah,
people are out there wanting the USS
so
Stargazer
I,
show
I
now.
I want it. I want that show so bad. Like I feel like that's a show that I would definitely watch. Uh, I'd watch him read the phone book. That's funny.
In
I
different
just
accents or just one accent? Like just the.
Rios, Rios. I like the way
I
he
like the way
says his own
I like
name.
the way the Spanish
Was done in this
yeah.
episode as well. Yeah. What do you think of the story about Rios and his mother? So we find out a little bit more about Rios, where he was. I guess his mom was a trainer or something like that at the academy in this scene,
Mm.
or and so he at 8 years old he does better on some kind of simulation than all these other cadets who are like probably in their
What a
early
pro. Do you
20s. They're
think he's
doing
Tom Paris level pilot there,
I
or do you
think
think?
so. I mean, it's
Okay,
pretty clear
all
he
right.
is. The La Serena hardly ever gets hit, and we never see
Okay, so
her.
that's
Yeah,
the
she
that's
hardly
the
gets it.
show. Rios versus Paris. Is that it? Is that the show?
But I thought that was cool finding out that he was like an army brat, basically. Like that he grew up. He
Mm.
also grew up Starfleet. Like being around Starfleet and stuff like that. So that more of that Starfleet to the core idea. Um,
I'm not one of the people necessarily that needs the TNG people to come back, in Picard. But I'm at a point now where I appreciate these new characters that they've created, but I would like to see them like I would just like to have episodes where I guess like the TNG people that we know would interact with the Picard people that we know. I
right.
just think that would be nice.
All right, real quick, let's just touch on because we're over our hour mark, and I know you got to go soon. But let's just quickly touch on Seven and Rafi. What do you think of their dynamic this season? And also, like, how do you feel about the way they chose to, in that year and a half is when they had their relationship, and then they kind of split up. So
Mm.
they've already had like a relationship, they've split up. So now we're seeing them kind of like a post relationship couple, if you will. What do you think of all that?
I don't really care. I'm not too fond of that. I would have, again, the same way that I would have enjoyed seeing a bit more of like Rafi and Elnor's relationship through like of what we missed. I would have enjoyed seeing kind of like their relationship, like what we missed of their relationship. I personally just would have put them together and left them together. I don't see why shows are so fascinated with the idea of splitting people up and putting them back together and creating these like X not X X re X dynamics. Like I think they think that adds like a level of drama, but I haven't really experienced that kind of thing in my life, so I don't know if that like people relate a lot to that. Maybe they do. I would have just enjoyed it if they were just together, full stop. Um, but I think that their mission in this episode, or what they were doing, was great. It wasn't the most compelling to me, because I felt like it was more interesting what was going on with like the Borg Queen and what was going on with Rios, because he was in trouble and he was alone. But what they were doing was, I suppose, what makes the episode a Star Trek episode. They were out there doing the Star Trek mission. They were out there scanning, trying to figure out where to go. They did a bit of like they had that little comedy moment where they were pretending to be like this kind of a annoying cute couple here.
And I think
In
through
order in
there,
order to get it, Kevin's not as fun as me. Or
yeah. Yeah, that was
um,
really funny. But I think also, oh, I went to the wrong direction. I think also through their eyes,
and there, yeah,
we're seeing a different perspective too. Through Rios, we're seeing like the atrocities being committed towards humans, a little bit more deeply with the immigration situation and like the raids and everything like this. And
but this
here,
is
I
the biggest
think
scope. Like this is
a bigger
on a
scope.
larger
Yeah.
scale. You're seeing what's happening. Yeah, the cellular photograph, like the whole seven still being seven, I guess. Like she yeah. Yeah, no, that I think it was fine. I think it worked. It worked very well.
Yeah, I thought
As
so
a whole,
too.
I think the episode is actually very solid. I think it's a bit of a modern and take, I guess, on like the fish out of water situation. It was reminiscent of like Star Trek that I enjoy, and this whole Borg Queen thing is working for me. I
Good.
still haven't fully, like, my brain is still not fully acknowledging new actor, because she has,
Annie Wershing.
yeah, as the Borg Queen, because she has, I feel like she has a more distinctive face, right? Like she has more distinctive traits, so she feels a bit different. So my mind, my subconscious is like going, "Oh, this is a different Borg Queen. This is a different Borg Queen." But then it is, like, she is technically a different Borg
Right.
Queen.
Yeah, and the Borg Queen can evolve or maybe even acquire a different body. Like,
But we don't
maybe,
know how it
yeah, we
works.
don't know how it all works, which is
We
good
got
that there's
no
still that
clue.
mystery. There a few more things about the Borg Queen. My text message audience says, don't forget to talk about how the Borg Queen uses drug addiction to assimilate you or to make you compliant. Because
Hmm.
Picard mentions that she uses euphoria to kind of keep you from realizing that you're in pain or whatever, whatever that you've been assimilated. And I thought that was a neat new,
Is that
an interesting new, not
drug
neat
use
new.
though?
Well, in a way, I think it's a commentary on humans using technology, and our dopamine is triggered when we get a like.
Yes, that's what
And
I think it is. I
but
don't
like
think.
that's what I mean. That's a kind of it's not a traditional drug that you take. It
Okay.
is an addiction, I suppose. Is
Yeah,
is what it comes
but
down to.
it's not like a traditional narcotic. It's not like a drug that you take.
Right, but euphoria is the whole name of the game when it comes to social media. Like it's like that it triggers the
You gotta
dopamine
get that
response.
like,
You got to
baby.
get that like. Speaking of which, if you
Smash
guys
the like,
yes,
because
yes,
if you
speaking
don't, he
of,
doesn't get his euphoria.
yeah, speaking
He,
of which, help Toddy and I get our euphoria by smashing
what are
the
you
like
doing?
button.
Like it.
The like
Look at
button.
him. He's not well. He's unwell. You gotta hit the like.
Uh, but I feel like there's a lot of heavy themes so far, and I'm really enjoying them because, like you said, it's like it feels like this is kind of like something that Star Trek does really well is it takes like real life issues, and then when it puts them into this like landscape of science fiction and adventure, it also entertains, which is amazing. I think that's like kind of like when I enjoy Star Trek the most is when I'm both learning and enjoying, and the ride, if you will.
Learning and enjoying.
Learning and enjoying. Any other thoughts as we say goodbye? Wondering what'll happen. Any quick speculation about next week? What do you think we're gonna see? What do you hope we're gonna see?
I have no clue. We're gonna find the Watcher. That's my speculation. We're gonna find the Watcher next week, and I don't know who the hell it's gonna be. Um, I would be content with it being someone that we don't know that we've never seen before. Though I feel like this show has kind of like a way of like it'll be someone that we've seen before, it'll be someone that we know. Is it going to be someone from the Q continuum? Is it going to be Guinan? Is it going to be like just another Elorian? Is it going to be some sort of Vulcan? I don't know, but we're going to find it's going to be all about the Watcher.
Yeah, I think so. Is it even called? Is it called The Watcher? Is that what the next episode's called? I didn't see. They haven't been releasing like the titles, or I've not been as tuned into them
I wouldn't be
as much.
surprised if
But
it was called the Watcher. I wouldn't be surprised.
one quick thing, I forgot to take a screenshot of him, but the actor who played the old man in the clinic in the wheelchair that Rios helps out. Do you remember that guy, Toddy?
Okay.
He was like the magistrate in Devil's Due, the episode with Ardra in
Okay.
TNG. So he's a returning character. It's a returning
Or is it an actor?
actor, rather, I should say, not a character, but yeah. And I think they pointed that out on Text Trek as well in the
Hmm.
Gorn eggs. So yeah, it's worth
I
noting.
do think that this season will be about like something's really gonna get messed up with Agnes. I do think something's gonna happen with Agnes here. Like they're not just gonna leave this be. You know what I mean? She's not just like I stole your shit, haha, moving on.
Right,
That's
right.
like she's gonna get more and more kind of fucked up by this assimilation situation that she went through.
Well, hopefully we'll find out. Textrick says that he believes every episode will end this season with a cliffhanger. It's trending that way. I can't see how it won't do that because it is like a big. It feels like the story's one.
Well,
There's
that's
not going to be a
good.
lot of sidebars, but I would be surprised. We'll see.
Well,
Do,
I wouldn't mind it if they had like a focus and they really just carried
kind
on. They
of just
didn't,
went.
yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't do too many side quests. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But nice talking to you, Toddy. This was a really fun discussion. Oh, one of our stake holders in Starfleet Boy requested that we bring the ratings back just for them, and they help out a lot. They've contributed financially to the Starfleet Boy cause, so I'm gonna bring the rating back to
Oh my
these.
goodness,
So
it's the board of trustees here.
it's the board of trustees says, why do you got to do this? Like I'm gonna
Hey,
put
did you nearly
the
get like exited as CEO here? Did you even get kicked out? Like this is
I
the board
Starfleet
voted.
Boy. I feel like in my heart, if Starfleet Boy were like a enterprise of some sort, that it would be a employee owned co-op, not
You think
a
this is a
yeah.
democratic
It would
situation?
be a
Like,
very democratic thing. So, but I do have to say yeah. So so I will give this episode a 10. I loved it a
I
lot. It
mean,
was very
I mean,
solid.
what were you expecting, people? People just want, they
But
just, whomever this individual is, whoever
ooh,
this
Text
watcher
is
is.
Text is saying I will pay pay you not
Oh
to
my God,
do
there's a bidding war
the.
now. You've got a
There's a
bidding
war.
war going on.
What do you give this episode if you did choose to rate it, Toddy,
I would probably give it,
on a scale of 1 to 10?
yeah, an 8.
Oh, very good. That's pretty high. That's pretty high score for you. That's
An
good.
8. I think it was pretty. I think it was pretty solid. I think it was pretty interesting. I think, yeah, a lot of solid performances, and yeah, I ain't giving no tens. All right.
Marcelo gave it a 5, by the way. He gave it a lower rating, but that was
Is,
like
is
right.
this out of 5 or
No, out of 10. He gave it a 5 out of 10. So he gave it a lower rating. But,
okay?
I feel like when you rewatch an episode a couple times, you do change your rating a little bit. So that's another reason why I like doing these discussions on Sunday. I get to watch
Well,
it more than
maybe I'd
just a
give
couple
like
times.
maybe I'd give it a 7.5. Like I'm it's because I preferred this one to the previous one, so I wanted to give it a higher. But maybe
No,
there's just
eight's
like
your rating. It's fine. We're gonna just stop. We'll stop at 8. No 7.5s. You don't need to change it.
you're just mad. You're just mad because then you have to bring it up to 12, and you're like you don't know how
Yeah. This is why Text Track doesn't care for ratings, because it's true. Our whole discussion, how can you possibly encapsulate it into rating? But we're doing it for fun. Audience, thank you. I like this rating. I
Okay,
rate it
well,
one La Serena in a vineyard.
yeah, exactly. I give it one timeline out of a dimension.
Ooh.
How about that?
Where can folks find you, and what have you got going on in the world of Trek on the Tube, Toddy?
People can find me at Trick on the Tube on the Twitter or on the YouTube, as usual. I put out a little collaboration like video where you can go click a link and hear my discussion in French. If you speak French, then you can listen to me talk about Discovery, but on a French podcast because I like to sometimes join my French compatriots there. Otherwise, I'm still working on my videos that I'm going to try and release. Is just I'm very busy at the moment with real life. But yeah, hopefully I should have a Discovery season 4 season review coming out sometime soon. I want to start working on that, and then I'm still going to carry on. I don't know if I'm going to carry on those Prodigy episode reviews. That I wanted to finish like the first 10. If I can, I will. If not, then I'll focus more on like species videos, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Right on.
the Discovery season 4 season review will be coming.
Very cool. Very excited about that. Everyone go check out Trek on the Tube, subscribe to his channel, and follow him on Twitter for some fun tweets, hot takes, lots of hot takes from Toddy. You're not gonna get you're not gonna get like
Hot takes.
any punches held back from Toddy.
Hot takes with added spice.
Yeah, I'll just tell you. Don't, there are times where I'm like, okay, count to 10 and then answer this tweet.
Breathe in,
Breathe in,
breathe out.
breathe out. Context is for kings. I just
You gotta
also...
read my tweet. Then you gotta go like drink drink a cup of cocoa and have a lie down. Then come back to it. Maybe like okay.
Also, in just a few short weeks, we'll be in person together, which I'm very excited about.
I
If
know, right?
anyone else who's going
Oh my
to
goodness.
Mission Chicago this year,
It's in like
please
3 weeks, right?
feel free to let us know on Twitter or however you want to. Send an email to sohail@starfleetboy.com if you like. We're gonna try to plan some kind of
I'm gonna be
meetup.
roommates with Fathery there.
Oh, that's right. You guys are roommates. It's so exciting. If you guys
I
like...
hope it's just Fathery, not like the Mirror Universe Fathery. Within the...
Oh boy, let's see what you encounter at Mission Chicago instead of Farpoint. That'll be an interesting one. Folks, thanks for joining us.
I'll know something's up. If it's the Mirror Universe, I'll have to Edith Kilo that thing.
The audience was so much fun. I loved reading your comments. I wish we could get to them all, but We like to keep these discussions brief, and we already gone half an hour over. So sorry,
I'm
Toddy,
gonna
I
get told
kept you a little
off.
too. Yeah, you're gonna get in trouble. But please subscribe if you haven't already. If you like what you see here on Saturdays at 3, normally we do a TOS discussion. You can check that out. Next week we're doing the episode "The Empath." Very interesting episode. And then on Friday nights on Twitter, we do a Spaces like live reaction type thing, like a reaction to the latest and greatest episode of Star Trek, whatever that is.
I'll have to.
So
I'll have to. On what is this? Mondays, Tuesdays? You say?
no, Thursdays, the old time slot for
Thursdays.
the reaction videos. Like now we're
Has it
just
become
doing
a Twitter thing?
A Twitter space.
I'll
Yeah,
have to
so
join one day. See what
we would love it. Yeah, I'll
see
send
what
you.
that's about.
Yeah, I'll send you a tweet. I'll send you one of the past ones. They've been a lot of fun. Marcelo's been on.
I
Last
will.
week we had Dr. Patrick Patterson. Our friend Patrick Patterson from Twitter was on talking.
Okay.
We've got Josh who sometimes pops
So
in.
can
And
anyone
we had
just talk?
anyway, that's the cool thing about Spaces that's
Isn't that a
different is that
mist?
yeah, you put someone on stage and they can talk and share their thoughts and ideas.
Oh, and then you can like drag me off stage. You can cut me off at any
Yeah,
moment. Like
if you
once I
get out
start
of
getting,
control.
yeah, like once you start saying things that I was like, no, we don't
Yeah,
want to hear
I
that.
haven't done it yet. So far, our audience has been really
I'll be the
cool,
first.
but yeah, you'll be the first.
I'll come on and
We'll
just
try
start
it on
ranting about
you.
some sort of random thing.
And then we can't forget Friday nights. We have a cool event called TQIF, which could stand for someone pointing out Thank Quark It's Friday, but we think it's Thank Q It's Friday. Which, by the way, it's John Delancey's birthday today, so happy birthday to the Q himself, John Delancey. We are. I think I showed a screenshot of him. We get a little hint of a little bit of Q in this episode, but I think we're gonna get a smattering or a sprinkle of Q every episode. So we'll see. We'll see what happens next week with him. But yeah, happy birthday to him. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Live long and prosper. And oh wait, I didn't promote the TQIF. So TQIF is an event that happens with starting off with Text Trek. So go check out the Text Trek channel if you haven't already. That starts at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then we do Starfleet Boy After Dark. This weekend on Starfleet Boy After Dark, this Friday, Father and I had a fun settling debates episode, and we settled the carpet versus floor debate. And I feel like, yeah. And I feel like we settled the Kirk in Strange New Worlds
Excuse me?
debate as well. Yeah, we settled it. It's rugs. Discovery has rugs. And I
You
think it's the
settled it.
we
You settled
settled
it. No,
with
no.
rugs. Yeah, it's
Trek
like
chat is coming up. All right, we're gonna settle it for real.
no, I
You
know.
guys you guys didn't have angry Robbie on.
Yeah, we did have angry.
You didn't have angry Ogre Trekkie.
We
All
don't know
right,
when we're
ranting
recording that,
about
but that
Kirk.
might top it. You're right. It's true.
You didn't have him on. All right, an angry Scotsman. All right, is something to handle. Okay, you'll see.
We will see. It's true. We'll tune in for that. So shout out to Earl Grey Trek, everyone. He just dropped a Cisco video on
Oh yeah,
his
the
channel, which
Remans
is
are
pretty
gone.
cool.
I don't know who the hell, why we're talking about Remans all of a sudden, but the Remans are gone. There's no more
We did.
Remans.
We also did the Reman's Dead debate. It's true.
There's like maybe 3 Remans left. All right,